center off of Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot, far down, he scores!
Come from behind for a month, now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get it! Wow! Edwards pulls up and buries a play! Richardson tries, not for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. Daniels takes his shot for Derby.
What up, all? Welcome into Friday's edition of Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as the Twitter. You guys know this. It's Friday and postseason volleyball got started, but the Devils are front and center this weekend. Volleyball starting tonight at Desert Financial Arena. ASU hosting the first two rounds, and yes, don't forget, football just happens to be playing in this little Big 12 championship game. You guys may have heard about it. You guys definitely may have heard about it. So, yeah, it starts. Ooh, there we go. Let's center up a little bit there. Hey, look at that. We're not flying away into space, but yes, football taking on Iowa State. And we shall get into that. We shall definitely get into that, as you know. So yes, it is crazy electric in Sun Devil Nation. Volleyball, like I said, hosting the first two rounds of the tournament. JJ Van Neal, back-to-back Coach of the Year awards. Last year in the Pac-12 for ASU, he got it, and then obviously this season winning the Big 12 outright. Well, they were Big 12 champs, but yes, becoming Big 12 champs and going from there. So yes, they get started tonight at Desert Financial Arena, as you guys all know, and then football tomorrow in Arlington. We'll be there. I shall be there. Sorry. So yes, it's So again, it's what JJ Van Niel has done. I've talked about absolutely crazy. Love what he's doing again, and the team again, the way they play, just they're. I mean, I saw you saw yesterday. I put up obviously the first team players, second team players. Argentina Ung was the setter of the year in the Big 12. Mary Schroll, the libero. I mean, no surprise. And the years that Jelly Sear, again, another phenomenal year had. It just absolutely great. Um, 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 and then football, obviously, Coach Dillingham, the Big 12 Coach of the Year. You saw the four first team players yesterday: Xavier Alford, Cam Scattaboo, Leaf Fantano, and Jordan Tyson. Like, just again, insane. Jordan Tyson gets the newcomer of the year. Sammy Levitt gets the freshman of the year. Yes, you can tell I'm pumped, Pitchfork Lunchers. I know you can. Um, um, and it is just again absolutely huge. And again, I can't what Kenny Dillingham has done, the staff, and again, he will credit the staff as again, coaches get it. You have staff, you extended your coordinators, his bonuses. I saw, and I will get clarification this weekend. But a lot of bonuses that he hit, that he gets, he was I'm not saying giving all to his staff, but sharing with his staff, which again, not a surprise when you talk to Coach Dillingham. But I mean, the marriage between him and Sam Levitt, Marcus Arroyo, as the offensive coordinator, again, just absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, you look at Brian Ward, what he's done as well too. The defense, as I've talked about it, as you know. But yes, it is exciting, and yeah. Um, yeah, so we're gonna look to trying to see if a few guests jump in, but a coach that knows about championships, and yes, JUCO level, but he also did coach at that school down south. I still love him. Phenomenal mentor. He again everything. Coach Kirsting, Joe Kirsting, NJCAA Hall of Famer, 3 JUCO national titles at Glendale Community College, as we all know. All right, I've told you. So I'm going to get him on, and we'll talk. Just getting ready for a championship game, because doing it at the JUCO level, I mean, yes, you have a different team pretty much every 2 years, but a lot of turnover and starters every year and stuff like that. And again, he is a big fan. I know, and he knows Coach Ward. Coach Ward was on a staff for a year in 2000 when he won the national when they won their second national championship. But yeah, I mean, it's getting ready, and just if you hear his insight, absolutely awesome. By the way, I got to shout out another Glendale Gaucho head coach in Lisa Stuck. Again, the volleyball team, like I said, hosting. First time they've ever won a conference title this year. But Lisa Stuck, again, phenomenal coach at GCC, also has won a national championship at the JUCO level, and was a phenomenal Sun Devil. So forks up to Lisa Stuck. Coach Stuck, again, awesome. Coach Mannix as well at Scottsdale Community College, again, inducted into the Sun Devil Hall of Fame last year. So just, again, great time to be a Sun Devil. So, but yeah. So, the show, yes, at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as the Twitter, my IG, Michael.Caratino.5. And yes, Pitchfork Lunchers, I know I tell you every day, you can go to the YouTube channel, and you go to YouTube, go to my channel. Anything you miss, it is all there for your education, entertainment, to rub it into the people from the team down south. Because, again, not just because we're winning, even when we're not winning, we're still better than they are. So inevitably, there you go. But my IG, Michael.Caratino.5, the YouTube channel, go to YouTube. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005, at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe. You can get all caught up. Plus, also, if you are listening, again, Casual E, man, just hooking Sun Devil Nation up, bringing you to the greatest internet radio station on the web, the Casual Sports Radio Network. So if you're driving, of course, I want you to watch, but you're Sun Devils, you're smart enough to know, don't drive and watch. So you can go to KSRN. You go to www.ksrnaz.com, click listen live. The page opens up, go down, click listen live, bam, hit play. Here's Pitchfork Lunch, Sun Devil content all over the Casual Sports Radio Network, along with the phenomenal coverage that Casual E gives you of the Cardinals, the Suns, the Diamondbacks, the Mercury. So now it is all there. So if you're listening on the Casual Sports Radio Network, absolute forks up to you. But yes, for those of you watching, if your friends are listening, you're on the road, and jump on in. So again, go to www.ksrnaz.com and just click listen live, and you can go from there. So, which is awesome. And again, all of this coming, but I'm going to step aside, and when I get back, we should be connecting with Coach Kersting again, because JUCO championship coach, and he is, again, just a phenomenal one with 3 different teams. And again, at the JUCO level, not that it's not hard at the D1 level. Again, not saying that, we get it. Only one team wins, right? But that being said, I will talk to Coach Kersting, and we will connect there. So again, volleyball, boom. Women's hoops on the road, playing well. Men's hoops, 8-1. Hello. Soccer had a hell of a season, brought us some recruits. Volleyball, like I said, hosting. Get out to DFA tonight. And again, watch this team play New Hampshire at 6:30. Absolutely phenomenal. So yes, but I'm going to step aside, and when we get back, we will have Coach Kersting here on Pitchfork Lunch.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use. Are you good?
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird gang. I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always laying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
KSRN has the inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use. Are you good?
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird gang. I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always laying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Yes, for those listening on the Casual Sports Radio Network, you are listening to the best internet radio station on the web. As man, Casual E's got you covered. Like I said, Suns, D-backs, Cardinals, Mercury, and now the Pitchfork Lunch. Invited to the Casual Sports Radio Network family, which, again, bringing you all the Sun Devil stuff and the Territorial Cup back in Phoenix. Got to love that. Back up in Tempe, I should say, where it belongs after the trouncing of Arizona. And, man, just beautiful game. I know. We reviewed it. We talked about it. We're on to Iowa State, which is, of course, even better, as all of you know. But that being said, always great to trounce that team again. ASU had won 5 in a row, dropped the last 2, and now, well, started up another win streak, and they will be taking on Iowa State, as we know, in the Big 12 championship game, which is really cool. And like I said, speaking of championship coaches, see, he's I know he's going to get on me because I was early for my show, but inviting him late. But he's a championship coach, an NJCAA Hall of Famer, and I have learned so much from him. And when he complimented me during broadcast, I know it was just from listening to him long enough. But the NJCAA Hall of Fame coach Joe Kirsting joining me. How's it going, Coach? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Doing really well.
your sweater looks kind of maroonish for the Sun Devils.
I wasn't planning because
I know.
Like you said, it was a late invite, but I was thinking, let's support those Sun Devils.
You bailed me out, and I appreciate it because the crazy thing, Coach, I was thinking of you last night. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get up early, and then I did get up early, and I started working on stuff, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I look at time, I'm like, yeah, in my head I reached out to Coach, but that's okay because yes, that's why you're a Hall of Fame coach, and like I said, you told me, well, let's get. I mean, look, winning at the JUCO level, we always talked about it because you literally had, I mean, a full new roster every 2 years. I mean, almost every year, kind of, but every 2 years. And like I said before you came on, not that it's not challenging. We all know it's very challenging to win because people used to hear me say, oh, you're saying it's more challenging to win at the JUCO level. And I said, okay, if you go from the aspect of before the transfer portal, yeah, you graduated players. You may have lost a player or two in transfer. But I said, from that aspect of getting guys together on the same page, I go, yeah, because you have to plug in somebody, do your job. Did they do their job as coaches? I said, you get some pretty talented players, some late bloomers. I said, plug them in and hope the chemistry with the unit works. But with what Coach Dillingham and you and I talked about, sir, that's why I wanted to have you on. With what Coach Dillingham and the staff have done, I mean, you know, and he is as coaches, like you told me, you got to have players that are coachable, that buy in, and that can run a system. But man, I mean, to go from 3-9 his first year, back-to-back 3-9 seasons, but 3-9 to 10-2 in a championship game, and you talk about a different feeling around there, not just because of winning, because the culture he brought. What say you on that, Coach?
Well, winning allows the culture to grow faster.
Right.
You know, his first 2 seasons are very similar to my first 2 seasons at Glendale Community College. They came off a 1-win season before we were hired. My first year, we won 3. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And then the second year, we went undefeated. But it was it's an incredible accomplishment that they have done at ASU. They really have. And with what's going on nowadays with the transfer portal and NIL and all those challenges, man, that's hard. That's really hard. And evidently they've figured out the key to it. But, you know, I think I don't know Coach Dillingham, but just watching him coach and seeing his interviews and things like that, he's so infectious that, I mean, you're either buying in or you probably won't hang around, you know, because he's only going to accept you coming and being a real Sun Devil. And it's been fun to watch. And 2 of my one former colleague and 1 former player are on the staff there, so that's really cool too. Brian Ward was a colleague of mine back in 2000 at Glendale. He was our defensive coordinator back then, as he is now with the Devils. And then AJ Cooper was a player for us in the 90s and did a great job as a tight end and a special team guy, and went on to, I believe it was North Dakota State, and then played there, and then got right into coaching from there, and has been coaching ever since at the college level.
Yeah, I want to. Well, it's so awesome here. See, look at that. See, he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster too. He always leads me in the right way. But with Coach Ward, I mean, it's funny because like I've told you before, I've had him on the show, and you know, one of the things he said to me, it took 25 years to become an overnight success, but the work he put in, and I teased him like I told you because, and when I had Coach Cooper on too, that you know, he played at Phoenix College, but he won as a Gaucho. So Coach Cooper even said the same thing you did. Yeah, he won as a Gaucho, so he knows. But with what Coach Ward, like you said, I mean, you know, you had him on the staff that year, and when guys are, you know, when coaches are at that level, yeah, I mean, he's locked in, obviously, of what he's doing. I mean, I saw what he did, you know, even at Washington State, just seeing what they did the last few years before he came over here, and I'm like, man, you know, I always appreciated the defense, but when you had him back then, and again, I know it's a fast forward question, but to have him that year, knowing his thing, what are some of the things about Coach Ward that you notice, like, yeah, this guy can have some success, and obviously it's rubbing off on this defense?
Well, he's a very, very smart guy. He learns things quickly. Extremely competitive guy, and he wants to win all the time. At least that's how he was when I coached with him. It was a unique situation because I had left Glendale. I had been the head coach there for 10 years. I left and went to the university level. And then I came back and returned to Glendale as an assistant. And I was the offensive coordinator. And Brian was the defensive coordinator. And I'll never forget we had one scrimmage, our one night where we had our offense against our starting defense. And it was extremely competitive. Let's put it that way, because I'm a guy that doesn't like to lose either. And he was, trying to game plan against me, and I'm trying to game plan against him. And it made me have to adjust on the fly, literally, because he came up with answers that were very, very difficult. And so it helped in my development as a coach. So he's a really smart guy. He knows all kinds of schemes, been exposed to all kinds of schemes at this point in his career. That was 24 years ago when we coached together. So since then, he's been at Syracuse and Washington State and other places where he's really made a name for himself. But he's also been exposed to, having to stop some of the best offenses in the country at the major college level. And so he knows what he's doing. And then, again, that buy-in thing, when players recognize that, hey, he's in it for you, he's in it for your best interest as a player and as an athlete and as a member of this team, they play really hard. I've been really impressed. I haven't been to a game live, but I've watched several of the games on TV, and their defense is playing really, really, the whole team's playing hard, but their defense is flying around and knocking the ball loose. And when, those things just don't happen. They happen because they're emphasized, they're coached, they're being reinforced, and the players are loving playing for them.
And at the JUCO level too, because with defense, I want to ask you this, because a guy like Xavier Alford, who, he made first team all Big 12, but his waiver didn't get approved last year. There's a lot of things in it where you're like, okay, yeah, me, I'm a homer. But when I step aside from the media side, I looked at his and I looked at, Jake Smith's too. But I want to get to Xavier Alford, but his waiver was denied. So he was on scout team all last year. So not that he's in the film room understanding what Coach Ward wants to do, but man, having a player like that brought it every practice on the scout team, like the receivers. I mean, there's a few times the injuries or not, the scout team got a few picks, and Alfred, if he got them, you're not crazy loud, coach, but he let those receivers know that scout team got it. But when a player, for him to have that kind of road or that kind of challenge and stay locked in and then not transfer as well, knowing that he'd be approved to play after a 3-9 season. Like you said, I know you haven't been around every day, but when you see a player like that, you kind of had dealt with some situations like that, guys having to sit out, couldn't play. But man, with what Alford's done and from a safety position, what do you feel that he's meant to the defense?
Well, there's certain players that just have a love for the game and a hunger for the game. And it doesn't take very long to figure out who those guys are. When you're watching videotape, I mean, they just jump off the screen, and they're always around on defense. They're always around the football. They either making the big play or they allowed the big play to happen because they did their job so well. Yeah. Whether it be covering, the number one receiver in the defensive backfield or the guy actually making the play. But just some guys just have a deep hunger and drive for competition, to prove themselves, and I went through that a little bit as a player and as a coach. I redshirted after 2 years of college, had to walk on at one point, and earned a scholarship. It took some patience and a lot of hard work and time, and it fell in place for me. And it sounds like this young man is that kind of guy that was willing to put the time in, even though he wasn't being rewarded right away. And we live in a world where that doesn't happen very often now. Most people want the instant gratification, thus the number of players transferring every year now.
Right. And it's funny because I know, like you're saying, his coach is getting ready. And again, he's not just, being one of the leaders of the defense, and against Texas State, I asked him and I said, I know that I know in a way the answer to my question is no, but how shocked were you when you got the interception against Texas State? Because he literally, there's a guy deep, and Coach Cooper, your former player, said he's on the side, he's right there, he's looking over, and he sees the ball go up, and he's like, there's nobody there. And then all of a sudden, here comes Alford running it down. He thought I thought maybe he could bat it down, and he picked it off. But I say that to say this to you, Coach, because I do love his, this day and age of social media, but his Twitter handle as a safety is the 100-yard landlord. I figure you'd even like that one.
Keep him out of the end zone, man. Keep him out of the end zone, and that's the last line of defense, obviously, at the safety position. But nowadays, safeties have to be so multifaceted in their skill level. It's not just covering now; it's being run fits. Sometimes they're almost like a linebacker, depending upon the scheme, and they are like a linebacker, really, depending upon the scheme. But there's certain guys that have that instinctual ability to what we call break on the ball, and they can get into the deep middle third or deep half when you have the two deep kind of look, and they can cover ground. But they also know when and where to break. It's not just how fast you are, but you got to take the right angle. And some guys seem to have it, and some guys miss it by half a yard, and it's 6 points. So it's an important position on the field for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to obviously, Sam Levitt, and this is why yesterday I was thinking about you, because at the JUCO level, again, a freshman quarterback comes in, but he's a redshirt freshman quarterback, but a freshman quarterback transfers from Michigan State, who had struggled last year too, ASU, and Sam Levitt said yesterday, he was asked on one of the shows, and I caught the tail end of his answer, but basically asked about when he first came in, sitting down with Kenny Dillingham and Marcus Arroyo, the success they've had, but and the offensive minds that they are, and he goes, just from the time I got here, and he said they made it very clear that it's going to be a competition. Like, that's one thing Coach Dillingham says a million times. He's not going out there promising anybody they're going to start. Like, you're good. We want you here, but are you going to compete? How are you going to compete? So, but with Sam Levitt being a freshman quarterback, a redshirt freshman quarterback, and like you said, Coach, you've seen some games, and from your eye, I know I've always admired how coaches watch the game, but man, the growth he's had, yes, people have talked about and seen, but man, to come in as a freshman and do this, you're picked to finish last. You got to get on the page with receivers. The offensive line, knock on wood, like we talked about, stayed healthy this year. But in coaching a quarterback like that, how much is it like, you want to open up your playbook. He's got to understand it. But how much are you giving him in the beginning? And I'm guessing as fast as they catch on, you can open it up more. But what have you just seen from Levitt, what he's been able to do, and just having such command of this offense?
Very impressive football player. You never guess he's a first-year starter for one thing, or a redshirt freshman. He's playing like a third or fourth-year guy. Even at Glendale, I kind of cheated. I didn't really cheat, but we tried to redshirt a quarterback every year with the idea that, okay, this guy's coming in as a freshman, and I got an older guy that's better than him right now. But in a year and 2 years, he's going to be really good. Let's see if we can redshirt him so we can have him for 2 years of playing time. And so some of our best quarterbacks were guys that were actually in the program for 3 years, but only had used 2 years of eligibility. There's nothing like reps, man. There's nothing like it. And he makes so many good decisions.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I've rarely seen the guy make a decision and you say, no, like he's throwing the ball up for grabs or he's taking a sack when he could have thrown the ball away. Larry Feckenheimer, who was a high school coach here in the Valley, Cactus High School, great high school coach, once said the hardest throw to teach a quarterback is to throw the ball away. And I mean, he does that really well. And he also has got some guys that he has trust in. They have proven to him that they're reliable. And he throws some 50-50 balls, but he's got guys that'll get it, where they're more like a 75-25 ball because, those guys can really go get the ball. I love what he's done, and obviously I love what they've done with the offense. They I'm sure had their base offensive plan, and by game whatever, for us it was always game 4. By game 4, I want to be on all cylinders, and almost the whole offense is in, and now we're tweaking week to week game plans and not inventing something new or throwing in something totally new. But he obviously can handle it, and again, there aren't a whole lot of guys that can handle a lot of offense, and he seems to be able to handle the run game part of it, plus the protection part of it. And you mentioned the offensive line. When I watched ASU last year, I thought that was the worst offensive line I'd seen in college football in a long time. They really struggled.
Right.
And they have improved so much this year. The last few times I've watched them, I was just honing in for several series just on the offensive line, just, watching, do they have the footwork? Are they strong enough? And it's a whole different deal this year as compared to last year. So as a quarterback, if you're not taking 1,000 hits every game, it's a whole lot easier to do your job.
Right.
Last year, the guys that were behind center, man, they didn't have a lot of help. And so they've done a much better job there. And so it's allowed him to be a really vibrant player for them this year.
Yeah, like Coach Dillingham would say harshly, nobody cares, what you're trotting out on the field because of the injuries last year. And a lot of guys, there were I think of the right tackle, Max Ionichor, who, it was kind of baptism by fire. Like you saw the length, you saw it, but it was kind of like, man, like guys are banged up. And their center, Lee Fontana, who was first team Big 12 this year. He played banged up pretty much all last year, but he made it through. And that's one thing. And I've said all year, Cam Scadaboo's not having this success without the offensive line. Yes, he has made some runs, and every now and then, like Leaf said, a guy misses a block, but he makes you look good because he just, gets by the guy or trucks the guy and gets another 10, 15 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Sam Levitt losing Jordan Tice, that's the big news. It was such a bummer. The Arizona game, he goes down, and just seeing him come out of the locker room kind of a little dejected. But they obviously, with the running game I talked about, and Coach Iguano, and that room has been phenomenal since he's gotten there working with the running backs. And but when you lose your receiver like that, your number one guy, yes, other guys have stepped up. So from your idea, now that you can give me your trade secrets because you're not worried about me telling anybody too early, and yes, obviously in practice, the reps, they've worked with other receivers have caught passes. But when you lose your number one target, like you said, your offense is in, but as you're game planning, looking for stuff, what's that like for, coach quarterback relationship there, getting ready for a game like this?
Well, I think first of all, as a coach, you have to figure out who your playmakers are. And if you lose a big time playmaker, okay, where are those targets going to go now?
Right.
So they have to, once they set the new game plan, That's what they got to figure out. All right, so we're going to get X amount of carries to Scatterboot and X amount to the number 2 guy. And then the quarterback's going to have a few runs in there, probably designed. But then in the pass game, you typically have progressions on most of your pass routes, but ideally, it's designed for this guy, or that guy on this particular play. Now, sometimes the defense takes it away and you don't force it. So you go to your next guy in the progression. So that's what they need to do. Okay, so I don't know their personnel well enough to know. I've seen that the big tight end has kind of figured into more things as the season's gone on. It appears to me. So he's a guy that seems pretty reliable. He's not going to give you the big huge 60-yard play probably, but definitely can take more targets right there. And then they got 2 or 3 other really quality receivers, so they'll figure that out. But yeah, does it hurt to lose a huge playmaker like that kid? Absolutely. When we won our last national championship game, if we'd have lost our top receiver Eric McCain, who was an all everything for us, that'd have been tough going into the national championship game. That's for sure. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, and obviously it puts more stress on the defense. So if the defense is going to have to probably step it up even more to make up for that loss of offense that they're probably going to have this week.
Yeah, I mean, and for Iowa State too, let me ask you this, because you're taking on Iowa State, and with obviously these bigger conferences, you're not playing everybody. And yeah, I get when you go into the Valley of the Sun Bowl, it's obviously a team you hadn't played, but when you look at it from that standpoint, like, I know Coach said after BYU he really didn't want to see them again, even though they got the win. And I know you've said that to me sometimes about teams, like you knew it's going to be tough, and it's like each time could just be like, one little bounce of the ball or one play the other way, and that's it. But not having seen Iowa State obviously not having seen ASU, but what were the differences in you preparing for games like that?
Well, one thing I tried to always do is do what we call self-scout. So if you knew your opponent was getting however many games, and what we did with bowl games, we'd commit 3 games. We'd give them any 3 games of ours that they wanted, and we could pick any 3 of theirs. So we do a self-scout on those 3 games. So what tendencies are we showing here? Defensively, are we blitzing, using this certain blitz in these situations every time? We need to change things up. So I think that's a big part of it, is you have to look at yourself first. Then obviously you see what your opponent does, and you can't get overly hung up on certain things. You got to figure out, well, what's their base concepts? What do they like doing the run game? What do they like doing the pass game? But then who are their playmakers from a defensive standpoint? And what can we do to take away? Whether it's a tailback or a key receiver or whatever. And then coach like heck during the week, don't lose who you are. You don't want to become somebody that's totally different. You want to tweak. You want to have a few answers that they're not ready for, but you don't want to change everything.
Yeah, pretty. If you're doing that, or like I used to say, depending on a broadcaster to get information, you're in trouble. Lastly, I want to get you out of here on this one, Coach. When you look at playing in a stadium like that, I mean, obviously, yes, they've played in their stadium and big stadiums all year, but you walk in, and I know they went out, they left yesterday because obviously they were going to, be there today, but like at least get a walkthrough. But when you're playing, it's a championship game, and everybody wants the glitz and the glamour. I get it when you're putting a product out there. But how big is it to get like that, just that walkthrough in the stadium? So even though, they're focused and they're prepared, but I always go back, like I said to you, in Hoosiers, when Gene Hackman, pulls out the rim's the same height, the free throw line's the same width, but then when the players were ahead of him. He looks at his assistant coach and he goes, "Damn, this is big." Like, so how important is that though to kind of get that walk through and just kind of even just get in there at least once for, whether it be half an hour, 45 minutes, the day before or whatever, when you're playing a championship game like that. And yeah, it's a football field still, but it's a ginormous, phenomenal stage.
Well, I think getting there a day before kind of gets the rush into your players, and what you want to do is kind of get it out of them, because what you want the game to be is football.
Right.
What we do. It's what you guys have been doing your whole, last 12, 15 years of your life for a lot of those guys. Just go play, and don't make it bigger than it really is. So when I could try to get our teams to just be us and be who we are, which the way they coach, obviously, the Devils staff has done a phenomenal job of building an identity. For this team to play so hard in every game like they're doing, I see no let up in this football team. So I'm excited for them, and they should just look at it as what a great opportunity. I mean, who in the world gets an opportunity to play in an enormous stadium that's known throughout the world like this? Hey, just go have fun with it.
Absolutely. All right, so you got a score, because now since you're not playing, I can ask you your prediction, and we're not calling the game, so it'd be awesome if we were. But what do you think the score might be?
I don't think it'll be a shootout, but I think it'll probably be in the 20s to low 30s, something like that, and a close game. I can't. I'm not going to predict who's going to win it, but I would say definitely within one score. I mean, both of these are really good football teams, and they're both playing at a high level. And so, having played in many bowl games, not played in, but coached in many bowl games, at this point in the season, the guys aren't going to quit. They got a lot to pay for. They know both teams know how to win. They know how to win close games. So, I think it'll go down to the wire. So if you're not ready to go watch this game, folks, you're crazy. This is going to be a great game.
And it's at 10 o'clock in the morning here, so gotta love it.
Yeah, get up and get your coffee on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Big 12 getting no respect. But see, I didn't even talk about that with you because I know as coaches, if you win, and like you guys always say, it'll take care of itself. But yeah, the ranking part of it with the CFP is an absolute joke at this point. And I know coaches in every conference are going to obviously pound the table for their conference, but when you make, when you're not screaming and you make educated points like these coaches have, I just have to agree. But I don't want to bring that up because it's about the game, and we're staying right there, Coach. But hey, again, thank you so much for jumping in. Your first appearance here on Pitchfork Lunch. Always a honorary Sun Devil, just like you made me an honorary Gaucho. I always appreciated that. So, but thanks for jumping in, and yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. So I'm pretty stoked.
All right. Well, have a great time.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
That is the NJCAA Hall of Fame head coach, Joe Kersing. And again, you heard they're prepping for games, but yeah, having a little knowledge, obviously having knowledge of Coach Ward, Coach Cooper, who was one of the first classes that I covered out at Glendale. Crazy. So love to hear that from him. That's our football preview. But hey, I'm going to step aside real quick. We are going to hit volleyball when I get back. So quick commercial, digest what Coach Kersing said. And, but yeah, quick commercial break, and we'll talk volleyball on the other side.
Audio Jungle.
project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird Gang, I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always laying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Yes, you are listening to the best internet radio station on the web. For those that are listening on the Casual Sports Radio Network, yes, I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. My IG, Michael.Caratino.5. See the show live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Plus, the YouTube. You can see it live on YouTube Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. And all you gotta do, go to YouTube, see my name, Michael Caratino, but it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe as, again, you just missed that awesome interview with Coach Kirsting, again, breaking down the game, his thoughts, just getting ready for a championship game. And, again, how coaches watch games and even what they pick up, but with the TV cameras, following the ball, but seeing what, O-line, D-line, in the secondary, maybe if you're, looking at linebackers and, how they're dominating, or how they're, working the defense. But yeah, it's just, again, awesome. By the way, real quick, before we move on to volleyball, I do want to mention that I saw this Sunday Football put this out yesterday, but Sam, or maybe it was the other day, but either way, it says Sam Levitt leading by example. It says Levitt is giving back 100% of his official merchandise royalties to the Sun Angel Collective, directly supporting his teammates through 2025. Again, absolutely. In this day and age, again, the collective, how you feel, how you don't feel, we're not talking about that. We don't have time right now, but that is absolutely awesome. So forks up to a phenomenal Sun Devil, Sam Levitt. Again, after this run, we're gonna aim to get Levitt on the show. We'll get CJ Fight back on the show. See if we get Tank on the show with CJ. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, volleyball, guys, 6:30 p.m. Desert Financial Arena. The number 8 team in the nation. The number 8 team in the nation is hosting. They're the 3rd seed on their side, and they're part of the bracket, with Nebraska being the 1 seed, Wisconsin, 2 Big Ten teams right there, being the 2 seed. And ASU 29-2. They finished ranked 8th in the regular season polls. Nebraska was 3rd, and Wisconsin was actually right above them at 7. So Yeah, so Pitt, Penn State, Nebraska, and Louisville all got the 1 seeds. Stanford, Creighton, Wisconsin got 2 seeds. Oh no, wait. I don't know if Creighton did. But either way, Arizona State's 3 seed. They take on New Hampshire. But man, this team, look, aces. What have they talked about? Like, what have I talked about? And again, Coach Van Neal, we talked about the other day, absolutely phenomenal. For those of you watching, we're just going to see a few little points, and I'll talk above it as those listening can hear. But yeah, this is from UCF when the championship trophy obviously was in the house. But Jillian Neal, who's and leads the team, also leads the team. Through that. Yeah, just the defense, just 3 plays. And I mean, look, UCF was doing it too, but ASU again getting teams out of system. Argentina owning the setter of the year, just again doing a phenomenal job of there by those watching, but listening again and back and forth, and that's when it took the second set, and then this is towards the end of the first set against UCF. But look, guys, I mean, Mary Schroll, again, the libero of the year. Just look at that set. I mean, staying off the net, flying in, it is phenomenal. So for those that are watching, you can see those listening again. This ASU team, I mean, defensively, just wow. I mean, phenomenal. But aces, I want to get to that before we get out of here. Aces. When you look at, well, yeah, on the season, Jillian Neal, I want to say has 33. $35. That was close. So Jillian Neal won the regular season ace competition as she had 35. Jelly Sear had 29. Argentina Ung had 26 and was third. Tied for fourth was Mary Schroll and Claire Jeter with 24 each. And I mean, man. So 176 aces, guys. So that's 7 sets. That's 2 matches and 1 set won on aces alone. I know I said it a zillion times for those watching. Like, yes, if you only won 2 matches and 2 sets all year, you wouldn't be anywhere. But when you're winning that many points off aces, guys, it's insane. Absolutely insane. What JJ Van Neal has done this year, again, just absolutely, and the staff. I mean, Presley Anderson, working with, very, very successful player in her own right, and so, I mean, look, it's insane what this team can do. And then you look at, obviously kill-wise. Shelly Shear finished with 353 kills, a team that had 1,484 kills. She finished with 353. And then Shania Cromartie, 269. Claire Jeter, 246. Savannah Cohety, 196. Argentina Ung, again, your setter, 117. Roberta Habella, who came on, a third of the way into the season, again, started playing more, being more part of the rotation, up to 115 kills. Yeah. So it's just, again, the offense that And I mean, Argentina owned 1,073 assists, 117 kills as a setter. And then when you look defensive wise, what she did Diggs wise, she had 273. Mary Schroll had 495. Jelly Sear had 272. But yeah, 273, second behind Schroll in Diggs. You're well-rounded setter of the year. So, guys, it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. I feel it. My prediction, Sun Devil fans, again, with Iowa State, I mean, again, it's a team that is Sun Devil defense, I mean, is going to be up for a challenge. Sun Devil offense, again, with this Iowa State defense. This is the first meeting, by the way. I know I mentioned that the other day, between the Sun Devils and Iowa State, marking the fourth time this season ASU has played an opponent for the first time in its history. So, again, Iowa State reached 10 wins. They're 10-2 as well for the first time in their program history. ASU with the 7-game turnaround. Lastly, I will say this. Kenny Dillingham yeah, their 10-2 record, 7-win improvement over last season at minimum. Over the 3-9 record, the 7-win improvement is already 2 games better than the previous best turnarounds in program history, and trails only Indiana's 8-win improvement this season among FBS programs. So again, staff is done. Coach Kirsting talking about it, everything. So got to get out of here. Prediction. I'm kind of with Coach. I think ASU wins 31. No, I'm going to say they win 35-31 over Iowa State. 35-31 is the prediction. So it is time to get out of here. Everybody have a most phenomenal rest of your day. And yes, hashtag for the volleyball team, our state, 6:30 p.m. tonight. Go check them out. Desert Financial Arena, first round, New Hampshire. Take care of business. They get to host at home. So for volleyball, hashtag our state. And yes, you know it. As always, forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man. The
27-yard line. That's a great call. Blake Baker, Bubba will put it up, throws over the middle. Touchdown. Quick flag.
That's away. Trying to center off with Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scored.
From behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a